We just got through part 1 of trial 1, and now we're going to do part 2. So, save current progress. So I don't really need to because it auto-saves, but still. Okay, here we go. 13th August, 10:41 a.m. Okay, so it's like an hour later. I'm so sorry, Susato. I should have told you about the toxin. Well, it's fine. Ray. You have a strong sense of responsibility, I know. That's why you decided to shoulder the burden alone. No, that's not it at all. I was scared of my failure coming to light, that's all. So I hope to retrieve the substance from the Englishwoman before anyone found out. I mean, that's a very human reaction. It's fine. Before the trial started, do you remember what you said, Susato? That you had no doubt in your mind about my innocence? That you'd stand by me to the last? I remember. And yet I didn't deserve your trust in me. I hid important details from you, Susato. I completely betrayed your faith in me. Hit me, Susato. I deserve it. No, in fact, throw me to the floor. Look, we can do throwing you to the floor after. This isn't the time for that kind of thing. No, that's too good for me as well. Drag me through the city streets. I'm no better, you know. Oh. Even though in my heart I knew you'd pulled the knife blade from Miss Brett's back, there was just a brief moment when in my mind I doubted you. Susato, I'm sorry. After I stood here and promised you that I'd stand by you and always be on your side, I betrayed your faith in me, too. And as such, I failed you as a lawyer. Oh, no. I think this situation has taught both of you a valuable lesson. Placing your unbridled faith in another's no easy task. Yes, Father. That fact has certainly struck home. Which is why I can see more clearly now. So, Ray. Yes? Can you find it in your heart to forgive me? Oh, Susato. You know you'll always be a gallant, dashing lawyer in my eyes now. Oh, Ray, that's not the answer I was looking for, but I'll take it. I was so scared, you know, when it happened. I didn't know what was going on. The Englishwoman just sitting at the back of the hut listening to what I was saying. Yeah, I know it's you. Well, now, whatever do you mean? Yeah, we got it. And then a moment later, she suddenly got to her feet, stumbled forward and had a knife in her back. Or collapsing on the floor in front of me with a knife in her back. It all happened right before my eyes. And you were the only people in that hut at the time? That's right, just Miss Brett and myself. There was no one else. So, I just don't understand how she could possibly have been stabbed like that. A great mystery indeed. Is that right? I still can't believe it happened. That's why I just couldn't bring myself to speak up. It'll be all right. However it happened and whatever really went on by the sea that day, I promise you that I'm going to prove everything you've said you saw is true. Spoken like a true Mikotoba. That's us. Now, I think we should discuss what's coming up in the trial, don't you? We don't have much time. We must make sure we have our facts in order. Yes, I expect the poison is going to come under close scrutiny in the upcoming proceedings. The police should hopefully have identified it on the blade by now. Trouble is, it's a completely new laboratory-synthesized blend of alkaloids. The police won't have any way of testing for it. Oh, I see. Yes, without this chemical reagent, it's impossible to detect the toxin. Chemical reagent? I sent a colleague of mine off with some earlier to deliver it to police headquarters. I think perhaps you should have some as well, though, just in case. Chemical reagent has been entered into the court record. What's the matter, Susato? You're suddenly very quiet. It's this newspaper article. Exclusive. Deadly poison stolen from Yume Medical Research Laboratory. I'm wondering how the information got out, given that it was a government secret. It was all that Englishwoman's doing. Huh? It was when the professor and Soseki-san were being interviewed at the laboratory. That so-called English lady swanned in and without any compunction said to Professor Mikotoba, "Oh, Professor, surely your guest would love to hear about your work on that substance there." Ugh. It put me in a very awkward position, to be frank, but Soseki-san's curiosity had been piqued, so I had little choice but to give him a cursory introduction. So then, Soseki-san knew about the poison. Yes, and it's highly likely that the reporter who was writing up the story about us would have caught a glimpse of the toxin too. This, many memos-san. By the way, did that reporter join you all when you went to the beach? Oh, no, I don't remember the reporter being there. Indeed, he shouldn't have been. I very much doubt anyone would have wanted him there, but that doesn't mean he's not going to go there. Oh? A known criminal had been given permission by the authorities to bathe by the seaside. Soseki-san pointed out that inviting a reporter might be problematic, so the man was sent back to his office. Yet, he obviously didn't go back. He secretly followed the party to the beach and took this very candid photograph. And then, presumably, he posted it anonymously to the police. Oh. Yes, that must be what happened. Counsel, we've just heard the new witness is now ready to testify. The trial is about to resume. Please proceed into the courtroom at once. Okay. It's time to steel ourselves again, then. Defense attorney Ryutaro Naruhodo. Yes. Ray has put her faith into me now and told me everything, so I can't let her down. I have to prove that what she's telling the court is true. I have to prove what really happened that day. Okay, yep, back into there. Hereby call to this court to order as we reconvene to continue the trial of Ray Membami. Membami. I keep saying N's. Prosecutor Ouchie, have you summoned the new witness? Before I address that question, Your Excellency, I have some very important news to share. Oh, I hate when he's smug. Oh? What news? And why does he look so happy about it? During the recess, with the collaboration of Professor Mikotoba's laboratory at Yume University, the police re-examined the knife that was used to end Miss Giselle Brett's life. Excellent. I admire your rapid handling of the matter. No, too kind, Your Excellency, too kind. I was merely carrying out your instructions, of course. I had the reagent delivered to the police headquarters by rickshaw, so it'd be there in good time. But judging by that man's swagger, I fear we might need to brace ourselves for the inevitable. And, Counsel, what were the results? Yeah? This dagger, which was so cruelly used to end the life of the victim, has was no trace of poison anywhere along its blade. What? Are you sure about that? I would stake the reputation of the police on it. Oh, you know what? I bet she licked the pen nib. Like she was gonna write something because she thought there was ink in there. And that was enough for the poison to get in her system. But then the person stabbed her to make it look like it was a stabbing instead, and now it just looks really bad because there was no poison on the blade, but there's poison in the lady. Ugh. Yeah, I would stake the reputation of the police on it. Armed with the reagent, the test is extremely simple. Couldn't have made a mistake. A murder weapon has been entered to the court record. In short, the accused's feeble excuse earlier has been utterly destroyed. Okay, stop screaming. It's really annoying. Like, I get that this is supposed to be dramatic. I played enough of these games, I'm kind of over it by now. It was funny in the first couple, and then you're like, okay, this is just a running thing. Now the prosecution is ready to call a new witness. The newspaper reporter who managed to capture a photograph of the crucial moment. Good. Very well, officer, bring in the witness. No trace of poison on the knife, but if that's really the case, how could the toxin have entered the victim's body? Through the pen, you dumb fucking piece of shit! You know it's in there! You know it's in there! Oh, God. Unscrew it. And then if we unscrew that, can we, we have to test it, but it's not going to let me test it until the crucial moment when they're like, we have nothing else to do. We already know that there's a little bit in there. Also, how are you doing, Gold? Hopefully you've been doing well. Yeah, the toxin have entered the victim's body because she licked the pen nib, because that's what you do with calligraphy pens or fountain pens, I guess. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court. And write in many memo of the Shoyu News. I'm what the people like to call a journo. Nobody calls you that. Also, he's got the same symbol on his sleeve as this. Wow, there's already so many things I could get this guy with, but we gotta be dramatic about it. What's a journo, Father? Do you know? It's simply a contraction of journalist. I'm there when the news breaks, putting pen to paper to catch those scoops so they're in the print the next morning. They don't call me the hero of the Herald for nothing. The nice guy of news. Yeah, the nice guy who murdered someone. Shut up. Oh, so, it was you who took this photograph, was it? Well, what have we here? I'm sorry? Oh, brace yourselves, people! Many memo senses a scoop in the offing. Female student up to foul play defended by curiously handsome young lawyer in Supreme Court. The readers will lap this up. We'll set it above the fold at the 72 point in a 5-leg format for the morning edition. Huh? Right then, let's start with your name. Oh, it's Ryotaro Naruhodo. Next, what made you want to become a lawyer? Okay, stop playing along. You're not an idiot. I hate this. Why do they turn everybody into an idiot? I want to reform our country's legal system, I suppose. Ryotaro suddenly become very ambitious, I see. Oh, nice. I just borrowed Kazuma-sama's dream for a while. By the way, my name is, Taketsuchi Aochi. That's Taketsuchi Aochi. The so-called dark horse of the Supreme Court, my objections strike fear into every defense lawyer's heart. I don't think that's true. No, the readers won't buy that. What? Yeah, you suck. Witness? Yes? What this court demands to know is whether or not you were responsible for the taking of this picture. The specific one with the cracked lens. It was delivered anonymously to the Imperial Police Bureau only yesterday. Yeah, I wouldn't be a journo if it didn't click quick when it presented with a scoop like that, now would I? Sometimes stories call out to me, sometimes I have to chase them down, but either way, you gotta be fast. Fast legs to run with and a fast hand to write with. It's no good if you don't note it down, I always say. That's why I call my, many memoism. That's stupid. Many memoism. Can we stop making up words? Ah, yes, I remember your face. We met that day when you were interviewing myself and Soseki-san. Yes, right, that was me. Many memo again. But you were supposed to be going back to the Shoyu news offices after our meeting. But the scoop is I didn't, because that Englishwoman's word had piqued my journalistic interest. Miss Brett's words? And a criminal left to do as she pleases just because she happens to be a British citizen? Ha! It's horse dung! This court's judiciary is rotten to the core, and so you took justice into your own hands, huh? The Supreme Court's rulings aren't worth the paper they're written on. The police are just imperial pawns. Okay, this guy has a lot of ideas. Say your tongue, young man. There are complex political issues at play. Well, anyway, I quickly jotted down those words she said in my memo pad. Are you ready? I'll read it out. It's all here, right? Here goes. I should like to go with everyone to see your country's coast. Serious criminal going on some junket? People need to know about this. That's why I decided to sneak after them. To get the woman's story so I could hammer her in the press. Okay. You mean to say that you did indeed witness it firsthand? The grim scene portrayed in this photograph? No, yes, I saw it with my very own journo eyes. That's not a real word. From start to finish through the viewfinder of my trusty camera. Thank you, Many Memo-san. You will now give a formal testimony before the court. You will state exactly what it is that you witnessed of the events surrounding Miss Brett's death. This guy is annoying. I've already run into some very annoying people right off the bat. Camera never lies. The beach hut was made out of shoddy old reed screen, so there are plenty of gaps I could see inside through. That's creepy. The English woman was sitting on a stool when the student girl came in and started arguing with her. Seconds later, the girl pulled out a knife, throwing the English woman on the floor as she stabbed her in the back. My smoldering journo spirit burst into flames. Quick as a flash, I whipped out my camera ready to click. I pulled apart the rough weave of one of the screens and poked the lens through for a perfect shot. I hate this guy. Read screens, you say? Right, you can see them clearly enough in that great shot I snapped. Hut walls were just screens made of coarsely woven reeds. Yes, it allows the breeze to pass through and bring some relief from the summer heat. And it was a breeze for me to poke my camera through and see the whole thing hotting up. God, he sounds like such a creeper. Ignoring for the time being the appalling invasion of privacy involved, did you witness everything that happened from the moment the defendant entered the hut? Oh, yes, I saw it. I saw the whole thing from start to finish. And you say that you took the photograph through a gap in one of the screens. Luckily for me, they were pretty shoddily woven. I pulled the reeds apart and thrust the lens of my camera through the gap. Why I hate this. Would I get away with it, or would I be seen? It was the gamble of a lifetime. You really sound like a peeping Tom right now. A tenacity of purpose that's considered admirable in a journalist, I suppose. Run a risk one day, run a scoop the next. That's many-memoism in a nutshell. At last. It would appear we have a genuine witness to this wicked crime, but he's weird. The evidence and testimony are extremely compelling. I believe we may be close to a verdict. No. Well, we want it to be a good verdict. Wonderful news, Your Excellency. Wonderful. Nevertheless, it cannot be denied that this testimony begs one very large question. What question? Exclusive news, a startling photograph, all the makings of an exceptional story for the reporter. Why then was the story never published? Oh, that's right. It seems clear to me that there are circumstances at play here that are yet to be understood. More pathetic excuses. Very well then, counsel. Proceed with your cross-examination. Yes, Your Excellency. There's more to this reporter than meets the eye. He's keeping something about this case very close to his chest. You mean, like his camera? Okay. Camera never lies. Beach house made a shot. There's plenty of gaps I could see inside through.
Hold it!
Do you swear before this court that you actually saw the precise moment when the stabbing took place? Nah, the precise moment? I didn't see just that. I saw the whole hellish scene play out from start to finish. I have here a simple plan of the beach hut. Perhaps you could use it to explain to the court exactly what you witnessed. Right you are. It's all here in my memo pad. When I first peered into the hut, I'm sure that the Englishwoman was on the stool at the back of the hut here. Yes, the accused's own testimony confirmed that. She just sat at the back of the hut smiling sweetly is what I've noted down. It's my turn to testify now. Try not to interrupt. Ugh. And the next moment, as I was watching, the evil student girl entered the hut. After a while, the pair of them ended up in the middle of the hut, arguing furiously. Then the Englishwoman went for the student, but the girl dodged out of the way. And then in a flash, plunged the knife into her adversary's back as the two passed each other. Where were you in this, though? What you describe as a grim crime indeed. Never sugarcoat the truth. That's what many-memoism says. The beach hut plan has been entered into the court record. Okay. By the way, Memo-san, whilst you were watching that terrible scene unfold before your eyes through the gap in the screen, did it not occur to you to try to prevent the tragedy rather than capture it on film? Journos have to be observers. We can't get involved. That's our raison d'etre. Yeah. So you didn't converse with Miss Brett at all? Obviously not. An observer always remains on the outside, looking in. And that's something to be proud of, is it? Excellency, if I may. Yes, Professor? I think the witness's last, expertly phrased statement should be perhaps added to his formal testimony. Father, what are you? I will grant the defense's request. Memo-san, you will supplement your formal testimony with the aforementioned statement. Well, nihilism is the foundation of memo-ism, but I'll gladly prove my words aren't meaningless. Okay. Never once set foot in the hut nor spoke with the Englishwoman. Was that okay? Pressing. Really? You didn't set foot inside the hut at all? Are you quite sure about that? I think you may have the wrong impression of me. We're talking about a murder scene here. My nerves are stretched to the breaking point already. Oh, I see. You were scared. Maybe I did have the wrong impression of you, yes. It was all I could do to stifle a scream and hold my hand steady enough to snap the shot. Really should have summoned help before thinking about your camera. Many-memoism and humanism don't always agree, and most of the time in those instances, Many memoism comes out on top. As a sculptor of stories, sometimes I have to be cruel for my art. Yes, that's spot on. Surely he's making all this up. Okay, so he definitely went in there because of the pen. Claims to have spied the whole affair from start to finish. If true, his testimony is devastating. But it does seem as though he's holding something back, doesn't it? That's how you feel? I suggest you trust your instincts and press him on everything he said. As you've no doubt seen it on many times in your role as judicial assistant. Okay, so press everything. Just press the whole thing.
Hold it!
What made you want to see what was happening inside the beach hut in the first place? You call it journo instinct. Can you think of a better reason? Oh, I don't know. Perhaps because as well as being a proven criminal, the person inside was a young woman. Ah, I see where you're going with this. Brace yourselves, people. He's painting the journo as a voyeur. I mean, yes? It's hardly slander, sir. You had a camera and you were taking pictures without the woman's knowledge. Nope, you've got it all wrong, little student boy. Sorry. To my mind, all that was inside the hut was a scoop. Nothing more, nothing less. Scoops know no gender, man or woman, it's all news. That's not even many memoism. It's basic journalism. Is it, though? If only the courtroom was as indiscriminate. Right, so if that's all buttoned up, can we move on? Tell the court then, witness, what sight befell your eyes when you looked inside the hut? Sight that vindicated my journo instinct, that's what. When I pulled back the reeds, I could see it all as clear as day. Okay. Sitting on stool, okay.
Hold it!
So you actually saw Membami-san entering the hut. Yep, and she was raging like my journo spirit. In the argument you mentioned, what was that about exactly? You stole it. I didn't steal it. That kind of thing. Talking about the poison, I suppose. Student girl walked right up to the English woman and really started laying into her. I mean, if she'd laid into her anymore, there would have been eggs. That man should have been an author. His descriptive talents are wasted on journalism. But the student's rantings fell on deaf ears, like a Japanese person listening to English for the first time. He's really ought to work on his similes first, though, to be honest. Anyway, the point is, that woman in the dock was mightily angry. And her temper finally got the better of her, it seems. Dear me. Which was the climactic moment that I caught on film. Seconds later, the girl pulled out a knife, throwing... Okay, as she stabbed her in the back. Check that out. Do you swear before this court that you actually saw the precise moment? Oh, wait. I didn't... I saw... Okay, I already saw this. That was... Okay. God, I wish there was just a skippy. Okay, because I already saw this. I just didn't... Okay. Wait, let me... Options. Gameplay. Text skip on. Subtitles on. Screen flashes on. So let's turn those off. Length of time until the next dialogue is displayed in autoplay or story mode. Will it go faster then? Oh, only an autoplay. Sorry, everyone. Okay, so I already said that. This one. I think this is the one I hadn't done. Court is fully aware of your desire to capture the incident on film, I'm sure. But why then did you choose to post the photograph anonymously to the police? I'm afraid I don't understand a word that's coming out of your mouth. What? I'm asking why, as a journalist, you decided not to make a story out of the incident. Think of me as a sculptor who makes art out of the sordid private details of other people's lives. But I never discuss my own personal life on principle. I mean, that's basic many memoism. It's not something to boast about. No doubt your burning desire to see the truth exposed and justice done was what motivated you. That's it. That's brilliant. My burning desire to see something or other exposed. There has to be a good reason why he didn't think to write an article about it. About what he saw. My own admission, you were outside the hut. How then did you manage to take the photograph? Oh, yes, that. I'm glad you asked. Yeah, peeled it apart. What if I present fountain pen?
Objection!
Okay, that's correct, because the music stopped. Many Memo-san, until now I've had a firm belief that newspapers are in the business of uncovering and publishing the truth. You're spot on there. The press doesn't lie, which is why I'm proud to wear the emblem of the Shoyu News on my arm. In a way, that's more Many Memoism. Sadly, though, it seems the journalists who write for those papers don't always share the same passion for the truth. What are you suggesting with those recriminatory words, counsel? Many Memo-san, do you recognize this fountain pen? This pen was found at the scene of Miss Brett's death. In fact, the murdered victim was gripping it in her hand as she died. And guess what? Your name happens to be those initials. He's 38. Wait, how old is my friend? 16! She's so young! We're the same age? I thought that it was 17. Jesus. Yeah, in fact, the murdered victim was gripping in her hand as she died. Oh, what are you? If you look at the barrel of the pen, you'll notice that its owner's initials are engraved there. R.M. Yes, thank you for bringing that up, counsel. The initials of the accused, Ray Membami. Is it a coincidence, I wonder, that your initials are also R.M.? No! Wow, you're an idiot. How did you not tell that? Write-in Many Memo, R.M. That's horse dung! Can't you see? One of the central tenets of Many Memoism is being a pencil user. And yet, as the court will clearly be able to see, on your right hand, there is a very obvious blue ink stain. It would appear that you must have rather carelessly left it somewhere recently. Your favorite fountain pen, that is. Horsey horse dung. Many Memo-san, is it not the case that before she died, you met with Giselle Brett in that beach hut?
Objection!
Why should we listen to this absurd nonsense? It's nothing but another excuse. Exactly. Shoyu News will stand behind me all the way. I deny everything. Thanks for showing me the symbol that I need to incriminate you. There must be as many people with the initials RM as there are stars in the night sky. The defense has neither the time nor the inclination to count every star in the sky. And there's no need anyway, because this pen has more to tell. Yes, there is another clue. A clue that undeniably proves who its owner really is. In that case, counsel, the defense will now show the court where this alleged clue lies. Of course, Your Excellency. The clue on this fountain pen that clearly reveals its owner's identity is at the very end of it. The symbol. There's present. Got it! As well as the initials, there is also an emblem on this fountain pen. An emblem that you will, of course, recognize, Many Memo-san. Goodness me, it's the emblem of the Shoyu News. In other words, the owner of this pen is an employee of the Shoyu News whose initials are RM. Suddenly, the stars in the night sky don't seem so numerous, do they? Well, Many Memo-san, how do you respond? No! Yeah, that's a good way to respond. We'll take that. Order, order! Explain yourself, witness! So, this is how the mighty Supreme Court works, is it? Using coercive tactics to have well-meaning citizens reveal harmless secrets. I've used nothing but honest tactics. All right, then. Fine. I won't try to hide it anymore. Yes, not long before the grim tragedy unfolded, I, a Shoyu news reporter, on behalf of the public, conducted an interview with the Englishwoman. And if it was as easy as you said to push the reeds apart to get in there, it would be really easy for you to push them apart, plunge a knife into her back, and then move to the side and take a picture. An interview? You never mentioned this before. When exactly was this? As I said, it was before that evil little student girl showed her face in the hut. Couldn't have lasted more than 2 or 3 minutes. That's all. It was just a brief exchange. But it came to nothing, and as we many memoists say, the people don't pay their dues for unworthy news. However insignificant you deem it to be, this court cannot overlook the meeting between yourself and the victim. You will testify now under oath about the precise nature of this meeting and what transpired. Got it? Yes, all right, but on one condition. Condition? In all good conscience, I couldn't speak out alone about this. You need to call back the earlier witness, Soseki Natsume-san. Soseki-san? Oh, yes, according to my notes here, that man has a secret of his own. And brace yourselves, it's because it's not a harmless one. It's big. What? What? Oh. Man. Fun. Many memoism states that one man's secret is every other man's front page story. Very well, I will grant the witness's request in this instance. Officer, summon the earlier witness back to the stand. Soseki-san is hiding something? Witness testimony. The witness's secrets. I asked the Englishwoman for an interview, but she declined, so I left the hut without making a fuss. Then, watching secretly from outside, I saw the woman being stabbed and the other witnesses come running. The detective realized the victim still had a pulse. He ran off to fetch help. That's when this writer man here asked the woman a very significant question. But he didn't say anything about that in the testimony, which is why many memoism demands I reveal it now. Can everybody stop withholding fucking evidence? Like, seriously. You mean to say the victim regained consciousness? And when she did, you decided to ask her a question? That's, true, yes. He did, and that's not all. The woman gave a very definite answer, an answer that incriminates the accused. This is preposterous. Why am I only hearing about this now? Why didn't you mention this before, you yokel hack? It wasn't even a conversation. Yes, I did pose the withering English Rose a question. I don't deny it. But she could no longer speak. She was barely conscious, even. Counsel for the defense, I expect a thorough cross-examination to be conducted here. The court must and will know the truth. Absolutely, Your Excellency. The reporter is claiming that Miss Brett implicated Ray somehow. What on earth could have happened in that hut? Oh, well, we're gonna find out. Okay. The witness's secret. I asked the Englishwoman for an interview, but she declined, so I left the hut without making a fuss. Then, watching secretly from outside, I saw the woman being stabbed and the other witnesses come running. The detective realized the victim still had a pulse, so he ran off to fetch help. That's when this writer man here asked the woman a very significant question. But he didn't say anything about that in his testimony. Okay. Did you press it?
Hold it!
What question? What exactly did he say? Well, now, I think you should hear it from the horse's mouth, I think. Don't you, Mr. Writer Man? Arrgh! Out with it, you yokel hack! What did you say to her? What did you say to the dying Englishwoman? Well, in truth, I'd been catching crabs at the water's edge and building castles in the sand, you see. Well, the seaside is a place to be at leisure, I suppose. Even for a grown man. But then all of a sudden, from that little beach hut, a young girl's panic-stricken cries for help pierced the air. Ray. I ran up the beach to see what was happening, to find the defendant leaning over the collapsed victim. As soon as Inspector Hosonaga saw Miss Brett on the ground, he sprinted off to get help. And then, just a moment later, I heard a faint moan, a moan from the dead Englishwoman. I nearly jumped out of my skin. But what did you ask her, Soseki-san? I asked her, who did this to you? Don't protract this any longer. How did the woman respond? Yeah, this is how I feel about this game. She didn't. She said nothing in response. But what? When in the stand, you will answer the questions asked of you unambiguously. Now, without evasion or reticence, I demand that you amend your testimony. I will! Yeah, that sure seems like you're milking time again. I asked her, who did this to you? But she never replied. She just lifted a trembling finger and pointed in the direction of the defendant.
Hold it!
Are you sure? Miss Brett pointed a finger at the defendant? Soseki-san, is this really true? It's not easy to stand here and say this, but when we first entered the beach hut, the Englishwoman was sprawled on the floor before us with the student girl standing on the far side of her. And when I asked, who did this to you? The Englishwoman summoned her last ounce of strength and pointed a trembling finger at the back of the hut. Because it wasn't her, she got stabbed in the back. Which was, it can't be denied, in the direction of the student girl who stands accused today. Oh, God. No. Soseki-san, why on earth did you neglect to mention this in your original testimony? But, fiddlesticks, I say. This is not a British court of law. You will respond in Japanese. Yes, of course, the Englishwoman did point her finger towards the back of the hut, but I was trembling, and she was trembling, and everything was a blur, and thinking about it, I feel as if perhaps she was pointing in a slightly different direction. Actually, no! Not slightly, in a very different direction to where the girl was standing. To somewhere at the back of the hut where nobody was standing at all. You mean, in your memory of events, the direction of which the victim was pointing are both unclear? Yes, that's it, unclear, and very, very unclear.
Objection!
Your Excellency, surely this proves the matter beyond all reasonable doubt. Yes, the woman may barely have been conscious, and yes, perhaps her finger wavered slightly, but there can be no doubt that this was an attempt by the victim to confirm the identity of her assailant. Why? Because as the court can see, there was no one other than the accused in the direction the victim was pointing, except for the photographer. It's now abundantly clear that no one besides the accused could have possibly committed this crime. I am inclined to agree, and in the absence of any credible argument to the contrary, I believe we can now conclude this trial. No. No! Yeah, no, come on. The headline's writing itself. Dashing lawyers hopes dash 92 point across the whole page. We'll do an extra edition. This is a serious blow, Susato, unless we're able to identify the true culprit and substantiate our claim with evidence. The judge will give his ruling and this trial will be over. But that's impossible, Father. We don't even know how the crime was committed yet. Impossible, though the task may seem, we have no choice. We must think back over everything we've learned thus far. Somewhere in all those details, I'm confident we'll find the clue we need. Ray gave us her account of how events folded into the defendant's antechamber before the trial resumed. She told us what happened at the precise moment Miss Brett was killed. The Englishwoman was sitting at the back of the hut, listening to what I was saying. And then a moment later, she suddenly got to her feet, before collapsing on the floor in front of me with a knife in her back. So she got stabbed through the side of the hut. How come Miss Brett had been stabbed in the back in a beach hut that was empty, but for herself and Ray? Somewhere amid the information, yes. I take it then the defense has nothing further to add? So, the gallant yokel student's luck finally runs out. I can't say I'm surprised. In that case, I'm ready to deliver my final verdict on this matter. No. I can't stay. Yeah, where was the real culprit hiding? And how did it... I know. I know how.
Objection!
Yeah. Oh, Your Excellency, I respectfully ask you to postpone your adjudication for the time being. Oh, to what end, counsel? The defense would like to present the court with an alternative theory. An alternative theory that can explain who the victim was actually trying to implicate with her dying gesture.
Objection!
An alternative theory? Ha! None exists.
Objection!
There was someone else present at the scene who could have committed the crime. What? And the victim, Miss Brett, tried to reveal who it was to those around her at the time by mustering all her remaining strength and pointing a trembling finger in the killer's direction. This is fiction, fantasy. Very well. As you seem so sure of yourself, counsel, I am prepared to hear your alternative theory. So, young Ryutaro Naruhodo. Yes, Your Excellency. You will present your latest theory to the court by means of this plan. At the moment the victim was stabbed, where exactly are you proposing the culprit was concealed? Right here. Outside. Outside the back. Naruhodo-san would never give up, and I'm a Naruhodo now. The true culprit who fatally stabbed Miss Brett was concealed in this location here. Are you mad, counsel? You're suggesting the culprit was outside the hut? What? Yeah. Who said it was really easy to just open up the bamboo? Order, order, order. But student lawyer Naruhodo-san Esquire, that makes no sense at all. You just pointed to the exact spot where I was hiding to get my scoop snap. But I didn't see any suspicious individuals loitering about, I can swear to that. Obviously, if the culprit had been outside the hut, there's no way that he or she could have stabbed the victim who is inside the hut. Actually, Prosecutor Ouchie, there is a way. Ah! And, in point of fact, the defense can provide evidence strongly suggesting that this is precisely the way Miss Brett was killed. You're bluffing. You're bluffing, yokel. The defense's assertion is clearly too fantastical for the court to comprehend. You will need to give us more guidance, counsel. What piece of evidence corroborates your theory that the victim was stabbed from outside the hut? It would have to be this one. Like, there's no other way.
Take that!
Are you fucking... Well, I presented it now, but I haven't... What? Because the bamboo! It's fucking... Why? The knife was thrust from outside the hut. There should be a visible... Oh, a visible trace on the hut itself. Okay. This is stupid. Oh, let me look at this photograph. Oh, I see it. I see it now. I see it now. So it's this pic. So I at least was right that it was a picture. The original photographic print of the crime scene? Yes, it's clearly visible in this print. The trace of the fatal thrust that was delivered from outside the beach hut. Do you take us for fools? There's no hint of any such thing. I'm not sure that everyone present would agree. Someone, at least, appears to have noticed what it is that I'm referring to. Counsel, once again, I must call on you to be explicit for the court. Where on this photograph is the trace of the stabbing, which you claim took place from outside the hut? It's right here, you fucking cuck.
Take that!
Look closely just here. In the screen at the back of the hut, you can see the effects of a blade having been forced through the reeds. No, I can't. I can't see any such thing. It's true that the hut in question has 4 walls, as you'd expect. However, by parting the reeds, a knife blade could easily penetrate them. This is extraordinary. Yes. The true culprit actually stabbed the victim from outside the beach hut. And everyone present at the scene, there is only one person who could have done that. Only one person who was directly outside the hut when Miss Brett was killed. Right in Memi Memo-san, it could have only been you. No! Yeah, get fucked.
Objection!
Okay, why are you objecting? This preposterous idea leaves me almost speechless. Just look at the photograph again. The victim lies almost in exactly the center of the beach hut, does she not? Are we to assume, as part of this farcical scenario, that the assailant was a knife thrower?
Objection!
No, of course not. We're not? If you recall the testimony of the defendant about the events just before the victim's death, yeah, she stood up. Inside the beach hut, I confronted Miss Brett. Yeah, we argued, and she said acted like she was untouchable, but then she got up and fell over. A stool. Have another look at the photograph. A slit in the reed screen would align perfectly with the back of a person who was sitting on that stool. My word! So in fact, the victim was killed whilst sitting on that stool by a stab wound to her back delivered through the reed screen. Ah! Having been attacked, Miss Brett rose to her feet instinctively, but then, unable to speak, she collapsed on the floor in the middle of the hut before the defendant, Membanami-san's, appalled eyes. And that, Your Excellency, is the truth of what happened on the beach that day. Oopsie. Almost dropped my controller. Yeah, Mini Memo, what do you got to say for yourself, you dick? By your silence, Mini Memo-san, I take it that you don't deny the charge. No, I don't fucking want to put stickers. God, I hate shit. Okay, sorry. One of my friends, tagged me in something, so I was like, I should probably respond. Yeah? Did you do it? Wow, this took way less time. The second part was half as long as the first part. This is absurd! But there's still the post trial period and all that. That will do. It would appear that we have a tacit admission of guilt from the witness. Accordingly, this court has successfully established the truth of this matter, which means that the defendant, Membami-san, is innocent of the crime. Yeah. Oh, thank goodness. I finally made him cave. Well, I don't know if he's gonna snap now. I must say, I've never been more proud. No, this can't be! The Ouchie clan can't! What if my growth of hope? I hope it just falls off. It wasn't all an apparition. I can't accept this, I won't! I see no reason for the continuance of this trial. I will therefore move to conclude proceedings by delivering my final verdict, and of course not. Of course not! This is all very convenient. This is how the highest court in our mighty empire delivers justice, is it? Suppressing well-meaning citizens' freedom to speak and branding them as criminals. But we've established that the victim was stabbed from outside the hut, through the reed screen walls, and you were there. And no one but you was in place at the time to have his hand on the hilt of the blade. It's a perfectly logical deduction. So, your argument hinges on the location of whoever stabbed the English woman, does it? Well, seems a little irrelevant now. Irrelevant? Because he's going to bring up the poison. Where she was stabbed, how she was stabbed, doesn't matter. I mean, whether she was stabbed at all makes no difference if you think about it. After all, this trial's already shown the whole thing hinges on something else. Yeah, he's bringing up the poison. but there's poison inside your pen. What? What are you talking about? Okay, it couldn't be that easy. Brace yourselves, little man. Or self, little man. I'm talking about the fact that everything's changed because of the dirt you dug up. What? Enough obscurity. Explain yourself, witness. What's to explain? I'm talking about the poison, of course. The poison? Let's ask the professor for a comment on the situation, shall we? I already know the answer to this, too. I understand that a deadly poison you were developing was stolen from your laboratory, correct? And it's been shown that this poison was administered to the victim, Miss Brett. Is that right? That is correct. The unusual constriction of the victim's pupils are a sure sign that this particular poison was used. I see. So, presumably that means that the victim already had the poison in her body before she was stabbed. Given that her pupils were clearly constricted, it seems highly likely, yes. If she had been dead already, the poison could not have circulated in her blood. Oh, how refreshing to hear the argument of a metropolitan mind. Oh, shut the fuck up. Can I do anything with this right now? Nothing appears obviously out of ordinary here, does it? No. Label appears to be written in a foreign language that I don't know. Is it German? It's German, so your knowledge of English is going to be of little help here, I'm afraid. Couldn't you have just written medicine on it in Japanese? Then we'd be able to read it. German is the international language of medicine, my dear. But yes, I can certainly see the merit in labeling the bottle in Japanese, though I'm not sure medicine would be entirely appropriate. Okay. Is that it? Is that all I can see? It's got a stopper and it's a label in German. Blood. Ah, yes, this must be the victim's blood. Oh dear, blood is never a pretty sight, is it? I might have to fight the urge to run it under hot tap water and get it clean. You've always been fastidious about cleanliness, haven't you? I think this is something else, Father. Okay, but there's nothing especially strange. It's just a knife. It's just a knife with blood on it. Nothing weird about that. Precisely. It matters not a jot who stabbed whom and whose back and with whose blade. I mean, that was still attempted murder. Because, quite simply, the English woman's life was taken not by the knife, but by the poison.
Objection!
But that can be explained by the poison being on the blade. It's not on the blade. We already shut. Why did you not think before you spoke? Haha, forgotten already, have we, yokel? During these very proceedings, the laboratory of the professor at your side assisted in proving that the blade of the weapon used to attack the victim had no trace of poison on it whatsoever. Ugh. Let me get down the facts, as skillfully established by the defense in this trial. Turns out to be a headline-making red herring. Oh, is that about right? Oh, God. Well... Oh, yeah, we have to be dramatic. I just get to the point where I test the pen for poison. Because the pen definitely had poison, and if she had that pen from him, he was probably like, here, have this pen as a token of whatever. And she licked the pen, got the poison in her because she thought there was ink in it, not poison, and then she was stabbed in the back. Case closed. Now we're going to take about 30 minutes to figure that out. Now, in that case, did the poison enter the victim's body? I know. It's an utterly, undeniably obvious answer to that. The lady most likely imbibed it. I mean, she drank it. Have another look at the photograph here. As you can see, well, I don't think it was in the wine. Pretty sure the wine was they were going to be like, the wine was tested too, and it wasn't in there. And we're going to be like, no, there's no way. The poison could have been slipped into either. Oh, sorry, I didn't read the last one, actually. A bottle of carbonated water and a glass had been knocked onto the sandy floor of the beach hut. pretty sure it was wine. I don't know if it was carbonated water, guys. So somebody made Miss Brett drink it. Well, what do you know? Look at those dashing eyes. This will make a great front page shot. Hey, why the bewitching stare? After all, I'm the last person you should be looking at. It would make no sense that I poisoned the woman, would it? I mean, that's been established already.
Hold it!
Established? What are you talking about? Don't tell me you've forgotten. That's a little hard to believe, given that the person who established it was you! God, they've always got to give us, like, the fucking circle jerk. Like, it's just so annoying. I already know how this works. What on earth does he mean? Oh, let me capture those wide eyes. This is prime press fodder, this is. It would seem that this trial is not destined to end after all. I hereby call upon the witness to give further testimony. This is great, that is. Let me get a shot of the magnificent beard, Your Excellency. You claim for it to be impossible that you were the one responsible for administering the poison to the victim. You will explain to the court in your testimony the basis upon which you make that claim. Yeah, and that's one of the things I hate about it. Like, there's no reason to make the game longer. These games are already, like, fairly long. You don't have to lengthen it more, but it's kind of just a Ace Attorney staple at this point, so I think most people accept it. But I'm still annoyed by it because I'm like, we already know exactly what to do, but we have to wait for the moment to reveal it, and we got to pump up the drama and be like, oh, no, it's actually, no, your pen was full of poison. Let me test it. Oh. I'm a journo, and I'm a man. Never tried to run or hide from anything in my life, and I'm not about to start now because that's many memoism. You're also stupid, and I hate you. For a brief moment, I thought I illuminated the truth, but it slipped right back into obscurity. No, it hasn't. You have all the evidence right here. We're just not allowed to do anything about it yet. Just where is this trial going to take us? To the truth. Witness testimony. Very good. Complete innocence. Ah, yes. I stabbed the Englishwoman. Why would I have bothered to stab the woman if I already poisoned her? To cover up the fact that you poisoned her. When I heard the student girl and that pompous English murderer arguing, it got up my goat. The courts weren't going to punish Brett for what she did. Somebody else would have to see justice done. Yep. So you have so much motive. So you admit it then, that everything happened as I described. That you are the one who stabbed Miss Brett in the back through the read screen. You can blame this miserable country of ours. A country that bows to the pressure of foreign powers and lets murderers walk free. What kind of future can a country like that have? Most police shows, I mean, that is also true. I'm sure RC could agree. As much as she likes police shows, I'm sure there are some that she's watched that are like, you guys could have figured this out a while ago. And that's why I did it. I did what our pathetic leaders didn't have the guts to do. Slap bang in the middle of that charming lady's back. I plunged the blade of sweet justice right in there. Cool. Well, at least you're freely admitting that you would have murdered her if it wasn't for the poison. As someone who spends his life seeing that the truth is told, I feel really, really awful about giving false information in my testimony before. But as it turns out, there was somebody else who had it in for the victim and got to her before me. That's right, you guessed it. That pretty little student girl. Oh, implicating Ray again. Yeah, now there's a woman after my own heart. Shut up. She's the one who gave the poison to the Englishwoman and ended her pitiful existence. And suddenly, snap, this journo here is off the hook. The argument is sound, certainly. The witness had administered the poison himself. He'd only have to wait for it to take effect. Subsequently stabbing the victim in the back would have been entirely nonsensical. It's a way to cover up the fact that he poisoned her in the first place and absolve himself of any guilt. You dumb fucking judge. And therefore, this reporter had nothing to do with the poisoning. Yes, it's quite logical. No, it's not. That's right, it is logical and true. I'm glad you've seen the light. Justice at last. This is unbelievable. And after I'd made so much progress in proving his guilt, is he going to get away with it now? No, because we have the evidence, but you have to go into the dark pits of despair and then be like, but wait, there's more. Yeah, he's just really creepy. He already sounded like a voyeur And now he's just a murderer and a voyeur. Slap. Think of Kazuma-sama and Naruhodo-san. They never stopped looking for a way forward until the judge's final gavel. Yeah, the judge, he's smarter than the regular judge, but he's still stupid in his own way. Very well then, counsel. Proceed with what I assume to be your final cross-examination in this trial. I hope so! Yes, Your Excellency. Complete innocence. Yeah, right. Yes, I stabbed the Englishwoman, and it's that very fact that proves I'm innocent. Because why would I have bothered to stab the woman if I'd already poisoned her? When I heard the student girl and that pompous English murderer, arguing, gets my goat. If the courts weren't going to punish Brett for what she did, okay. Hold it! So you still maintain that you didn't give the poison to the victim? Obviously, that'd be like putting a belt on your trousers when you were already wearing braces like these. The accused administered the poison, following which the witness stabbed the victim. An unforgivable act, and certainly, but not one of murder. Like, that crime rests on the accused's shoulders. That is how the law works, you see, yokel. Who knows? You may even learn something here today. God, fuck you. 2 consecutive attempts on her life in the space of minutes? What a day for the victim. Do something that evil, you got it coming. That's how the law works. The law of reckoning. It's not the kind of law this court upholds. You will reiterate why you were compelled to stab the victim then, witness.
Hold it!
What exactly were they arguing about? The poison. About what happened to the restaurant 9 months ago. That's what. Student girl was laying into the Englishwoman for killing her beloved mentor, Dr. Wilson. Yes, John H. Wilson, professor of medicine, invited here for... Right, but the Englishwoman just cheered. Her case was to be heard by the British consular court in Shanghai. However, there's little doubt that she would simply have been acquitted and sent back to her homeland a free woman. I was eating that student girl up inside. You could see it. I really felt for her. Did you? Oh, hi. Hold it! Oh, she said hold it. I can't stand here and listen to this tripe. Ray? Young girl, you stand accused here. You can't just blurt out whenever you feel like it. No, you can't. Sorry, but I'm in the middle of some very important testimony here. Just keep quiet and listen. But this awful man is making all of this up. Susato, please, you have to make them listen. Return to the dock at once, Membami-san. We are in the middle of a cross-examination.
Hold it!
Your Excellency, please, I implore you. That journalist is clearly not a trustworthy witness. Exactly, he's a filthy, rotten, black-hearted, bigoted, dirty, great, peeping Tom. Whoa, take it easy there. Please, I really think the court should hear what the defendant has to say. Your Excellency, I see no need whatsoever to entertain the accused's remarks. I will grant the request of the defense. Thanks. But Your Excellency! Shut up! This is likely to be the final cross-examination of these proceedings. As such, I believe it would be ill-advised to stifle the defendant's obvious concerns. So, whilst recognizing that this contravenes regular protocol, I hereby call upon the defendant to speak. Oh, thank you, Judge. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Wow, smartest thing he's done the whole time. It was nothing to do with Dr. Wilson. We were discussing the stolen poison. And the courts weren't, yeah. Hold it. Okay. The stolen poison that killed the victim, you mean? I suspected her of being the one to steal it. I mean, just think about how she killed Dr. Wilson. That's true. Additionally, Miss Brett certainly had knowledge of the new poison. But surely it would be no easy task to steal a highly secret toxin being developed for the government. Indeed, all visitors in the laboratory are thoroughly searched when they leave. Even if a thief managed to avoid being seen by myself or a colleague, getting the poison out would be very difficult. Unless they hid it inside of a fountain pen, which you wouldn't check the contents of. You'd just be like, you have a pen, cool, bye. That's true. I pestered Professor Mikotoba until he agreed to show me the poison when I visited his laboratory. But as I left, I was searched from top to tail. Miss Brett rather bluntly revealed the existence of the toxin we'd been developing, you see. And since Soseki-san expressed such an interest in it, I felt unable to refuse. Obviously, I gave nothing away other than the fact that it was an extremely potent substance. I'm very ashamed of myself. It's just that I've had a singularly terrible experience with a deadly poison. I wanted to look my old enemy in the eye. Surely you can understand that. To find out if my suspicions were true, I confronted Miss Brett about the poison. I told her that if there was to be an incident involving it somehow, it wouldn't just be the university. The military would be dragged into it, the whole government even. It would be a complete disaster. And how did Miss Brett respond to your concerns? She just curled those beautiful lips of hers and said she didn't know the first thing about it. In English, actually. Ah, yes. Many Memo-san, one small question if you don't mind. I do mind. Can't you see I'm busy? Clearly you were outside the beach hut listening in whilst the defendant and Miss Brett were conversing. Presumably then, it was you who wrote the article about what you'd heard. Exclusive deadly poison stolen from Yume Medical Research Laboratory. The story is published in this morning's edition of the Shoyu News. The details are too accurate for it to have been written by anyone else. Sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, look at this. The entire article. It's almost what I said to Miss Brett word for word. Well, many Memo-san. As a journo and as a citizen of a free country, I don't have to reveal my sources. That's a founding principle of many Memoism. Father's clearly right about this. That reporter did write that article, and he based it on what he overheard from outside the hut. Okay, yep. The details of the poison article have been updated in the court record. Yeah, he eavesdropped. So that's what it was all about. You were trying to cover up the fact that you were listening in. That's why you came up with that stinking story about me arguing with her. Shut up! My stories never stink. Look, whatever you say, little girl, it doesn't alter the facts. Your Excellency, there's something I wanted to say, and I wanted to go on record. Very well, you may amend your formal testimony. The point is, if you poisoned someone, there'd be no reason for them to go and stab the person as well. Oopsie, I forgot to press that. Victim had unwittingly taken the poison, face... Yeah, no question, yeah. Okay, we have a plausible explanation. Feel sure that everything would drop into place. That's what we should be looking for. Yes, I agree. In order to do that, must... Yeah, I got it. Okay, I'll press the final statement. Perhaps you doubted the efficacy of the poison and sought to make sure your victim would die. That's horse dung. What? That would be like pouring pepper on your Chinese ramen before you even tasted it. Completely reckless. Although it might surprise you to learn that I am a bit of an impetuous pepper pourer, as it happens. Once the victim had taken the poison, she would have only been minutes away from death. And yet, this man then proceeded to stab her in the back as well. There has to have been a good reason for that. If it was the reporter who gave the poison to Miss Brett, then clearly he must have done it Okay, that's undeniable, but there was one very crucial change in the situation. The fact that she had a pen. Oh, and that. The reporter overheard the conversation between Ray and the Englishwoman. Oops. That's when Many Memo-san first found out the exact nature of the poison he'd used. It could be the key here. Okay. Yeah, he was responsible. think of a plausible explanation as to why he might have stabbed her, or even after the poisoning. I feel sure that everything would drop into place. That's what we should be looking for. Glean more information. Okay, do I just have to...
Hold it!
Wait, did I already press this? So you admit that you met... Oh, her very existence offended my sense of justice. Oh, indignation. Okay. She was pure evil, cold-blooded killer who committed murder right here on our empire soil. She did our good-for-nothing government... but did our good-for-nothing government do anything? Not a chance, so I had to step in. Fly the flag of justice, put things right for the people. Yes, it was my civic duty. That's what drove me to do it. So in summary, murderous intentions then. Whatever you want to call it. The point is, that English woman was a blight, so I had to do what was right for society. Yet a real wrong was done by the student girl in the dock, a crime for which she must pay. Shut up. Obviously, because the poisoning has nothing to do with me at all.
Hold it!
I think I already did this one. You still maintain you didn't give poison to the victim. Obviously. Okay, Okay. I think I have to present the pen, and then they're like, what are you talking about? Save. Because I don't know exactly which statement to pull out the pen on.
Objection!
That wasn't right. Fine. Okay. How do you mean re-examine the evidence? I already examined the evidence. Maybe I present the pen here?
Objection!
No, that's wrong. No, I don't want to. Oh, this is so annoying. I know what the answer is, but it's like it wants a very fucking specific thing. Like, where the hell am I supposed to? Based on information he gleaned by eavesdropping.
Objection!
Okay, okay. So we put that there because he learned what it could do, and yeah. I can think of one reason. What? But before I explain, I'd like you to confirm something for the court. Did you glean all the information for this newspaper article from what you overheard outside the hut? Of course he did. There can be no question of that. After all, when we were all in the laboratory together, we were all told that it was a terrible toxin. And there is one more important fact to consider. According to the witness, Membami-san's verbal attack against the victim began as soon as she entered the hut. In other words, it would have been impossible for her to have slipped the poison into Miss Brett's drink.
Objection!
Oh, I hate you. Where are you going with this, counsel? Memo-san has made it quite clear that he observed every single thing that happened in the beach hut. If the defendant had somehow found an opportunity, this man would have seen it. Arrgh! Which means that Miss Brett couldn't have imbibed the poison whilst the defendant was present. In fact, it must have been administered to her before Membami-san entered the hut. Yes, very accurate. Articulately put. What did he fucking say? I already... Yeah, articulately. Okay, I was just making sure. When I walked into the hut, I immediately started to press Miss Brett about the poison. At which point, Memi Memo-san overheard some worrying information. Worrying information? What worrying information? The information which he subsequently included in his newspaper article, namely, that the poison was being developed in strict secrecy and that it couldn't be readily obtained. Absolutely. In fact, that's quite an understatement. The only possible place it could come from is my lab. And furthermore, anyone afflicted by the poison would exhibit telltale signs of death. The extreme constriction of the pupils, yes, it's quite stark when you see it. There are other poisons that show similar symptoms, but not among new substances that are undetectable. In other words, it would be clear that the victim's life had been ended by the use of this particular poison, which would reduce the number of suspects to only a handful of people. Ah! Everyone in my laboratory is aware of the unique properties of the toxin we've been developing. None of them would be foolish enough to attempt to use it for some nefarious deed. Mambame-san being no exception, especially since she was taking care of it. Therefore, we can conclude that whoever administered this unique poison to the victim was a layperson unaware of its telltale properties. In other words, someone like you. Write in many memo. Yeah, and he's gonna be like, but how could I have gotten it out of there? They search everyone. It was you who stole the poison from the laboratory that day, and it was you who administered it to the unwitting victim. But you quickly realized that was a terrible mistake, because the poison caused such unusual symptoms and was so traceable. As you listened from the far side of the beach hut's thin walls, you learnt of these facts, but you'd already given the victim the poison at that point. It was too late. So you hatched a plan to disguise your mistake. A plan that involved stabbing the victim in the back through the reed screen.
Objection!
But what good could that possibly do? Isn't it obvious, counsel? The plan was to kill Miss Brett before the poison could take effect. Once in the blood, the poison causes the onset of pupil constriction, but he had hoped to precipitate the victim's death before that happened, hadn't he? Exactly. Because without revealing any signs of the new secret poison's use, no one would have ever suspected. This is extraordinary. Yes, the effects of the poison meant it would be too easily identified, so the killer had to mask its use, which he attempted to do by plunging a knife into the middle of the victim's back, which he 100% admitted to. Order, order, order! The argument presented is sound. The court is satisfied that it warrants consideration. Does the prosecution have a counter-argument it wishes to put forward? Well, there are a number of... yes, I counter completely.
Objection!
How? The prosecution's evasive response clearly shows that in much the same way as he nurtures the remnants of his top knot, he is clinging to lost hope. Look, lost hope? Yeah, like seriously, bro, you're grasping at straws. Okay, who's gonna say hold it this time? I bet it's Mr. Man. Yep, he's like, how did I sneak it out? They searched me. You pathetic, useless, fallen samurai! Fallen? Who are you calling fallen? My burgeoning growth is... I don't need a counter-argument. What? What are you talking about? It should be blatantly obvious. I stole the poison, you say. Gave it to the victim, you say. Stabbed her, you say. Lots of fine theories. But I don't need a counter-argument because you don't have an argument yourself. Where's your evidence? Yes, you make it all sound so plausible, don't you? But without evidence, it means nothing. Whereas I base my news on facts. Facts? What do you mean? Explain yourself. I mean, what the professor said earlier in this trial. It's all here, in my many memos, every word, every slip of the tongue, all noted. That's what the Shoyu News is famous for, its power of the printed word. But surely, it would be stolen indeed. Everybody searched, so they can't get out with it. How's that then? Blown the story wide open? See, I write in many memo, a mere reporter from the Shoyu News. Couldn't possibly have stolen that poison from the professor's laboratory. Stop acting so surprised. We have the evidence. It's so fucking annoying. There can't be any question of it. He must have stolen the poison that day. He stole it and used it to kill, and I know the evidence. If that's the case. As you've identified, the poison itself is the definitive evidence we need. Because whoever stole it from the laboratory that day is the true culprit here. What's your point, you annoyingly handsome country bumpkin? My point is to this. There is one way that you, Many Memo-san, could have stolen the poison that day. I've heard enough verbal conjecture, thank you. We need evidence. What proof do I have?
Take that!
The pen. The proof, Your Excellency, is this fountain pen. Arrgh! A fountain pen? How could that possibly be relevant? These magical pens somehow seem to have enough ink to write many thousands of kanji characters. I believe they arrived in our country for the first time some 15 years ago. I swear by a weasel hair calligraphy brush and nothing else. These newfangled pens are merely a fad. Well, as a forward-thinking man of words, obviously I love my fountain pen. Suck up on a soup can of sumptuous ink, then one's work is awash with words in the blink of an eye. That's right. Fountain pens have a small reservoir in the barrel, into which ink is sucked up through the nib of the pen in order to write with later. What does all this talking of sucking up ink have? Ah! And just as it's possible to suck ink up into the reservoir, it's also possible to eject it through the nib again, of course. My word, can this really be? Well, Many Memo-san. When you saw the deadly poison before your eyes in the laboratory that day, you used your fountain pen, your very lifeblood, to steal some of it, didn't you? By siphoning the poison up through the nib and into the pen's reservoir. Arrgh!
Objection!
More absurdity! That never happened! True. We've heard that there were procedures in place to prevent thefts like this from the laboratory. But would anyone have thought to look inside a fountain pen of all places? No, I'm a little ashamed to say that for fear of offending our guests, such a detailed search would not have been conducted. Well, this is quite startling, I must say. I remind the court that this pen was found in the clutches of the victim when she died. In other words, it was dropped at the scene by Many Memo-san. So the crucial question is, when exactly was the pen dropped? Are you suggesting? The natural conclusion is that in your haste to act whilst the victim was distracted for a moment, you dropped the pen after you'd emptied the poison from it into her glass.
Objection!
There could be any number of alternative explanations. For example, the witness could have been using his pen to write down details of his conversation with the victim. And when shocked by one of her outrageous answers, the pen fell from his quivering hand. No, that can't be. If it was, how do you explain why the pen was devoid of ink? What? As you can see for yourself, if you examine the evidence, there would appear to be no ink present in the reservoir. What newspaper reporter goes to an interview with someone with nothing in his pen? No, the pen was dropped after the poison that filled its reservoir had been emptied into the victim's glass. Witness, what do you have to say in your defense? So this is how our modern justice system works, is it? So what if the ink in my pen runs dry? So what if my pencil snaps? I can always claw my way back into the game. I have plenty in reserve. Yeah, you just have to really drag this shit on. You claim I sucked the poison up into my pen? That's wild speculation, nothing more. If you thought you could bring down a fine upstanding citizen with a trick like that, think again. Looks as though he's gonna take one final decisive blow to finish this matter. As I see it, the situation is now very simple. Rests upon whether or not this witness did indeed steal the poison on the day in question. And therefore, it all depends upon whether or not the defense can prove what he did with evidence. No such evidence could possibly exist. No, it does. Many Memo-san, this is how our modern justice system works. What? In the courtroom, evidence is everything. Something you would do well to remember. Because we are well past the point of speculation at this stage, I assure you. Very well then, I call upon the defense to present the aforementioned evidence. Yep, this is it then. This will be the final piece in the puzzle. Jesus. Defense can prove by means of this item that it was the witness's pen that was used to steal the poison.
Take that!
Yeah, the reagent. Finally. Counsel, what is that bottle? This bottle contains the unique chemical reagent that can identify the poison in question. Ah! Yes, the poison is an entirely new synthesis of alkaloids developed by my colleagues and I. It would be impossible to detect traces of it by any other method. Or, from another perspective, simply with this chemical reagent, anybody at all could check for traces of the poison. A reagent? What? One drop of the contents of this bottle in the tip of your fountain pen, Many Memo-san, is all it will take to solve this case beyond all reasonable doubt. No, you can't. I won't. Your crimes are bad enough, but at least know when to admit defeat. Your Excellency, the defense requests permission to carry out the test on the fountain pen at once. Yeah, good. Come on. Stop milking this. This isn't my fault. The Empire drove me to this, trying to hold its head high as a civil. Yeah, I took up arms in the form of mighty pen. I fought tirelessly the battlefield news. All the name of justice, righteousness, remember sin is. God, this guy fucking sucks. Kill him! Susato, with me. I'm there. Oh, we're gonna do a double takedown on this dick. Good. Fuck that guy. Did I do it right? That was a Susato takedown, wasn't it? Not quite. That was a Ryotaro takedown. You can't say my name here. Ah, jeez. The instant the first drop of the reagent touched the nib of the fountain pen, it was clear to everyone present. Show me. Is it purple? Okay, don't show me. When I saw it was there in the lab of the poison, the devil got hold of me and I decided to do it on a whim. The devil. Excuse myself and emptied all the ink down the sink in the bathroom, washing the reservoir out carefully. You waited for an opportunity to suck up some of the poison, didn't you? Into your fountain pen. Yes, that's right. Answer me one thing, Many Memo-san. Why did you steal it? For what purpose? Isn't it obvious to find out what it was made of and expose it in an article? I mean, it was a secret project after all, too juicy for a journo like me to pass up. Then why did the English woman end up dead? I went into that hut intending to quiz her on this situation, that's all. As a reporter, known killer enjoying full freedom, evading justice by leaving the country, I told her what I thought about it. And she just laughed in my face! Oh, but what's this? A Far Eastern caveman purporting to practice journalism? Really, you must learn the difference between reporting and listening at doorways, you ignorant plebeian. What did you just call me? This country with its pretensions to a justice system, to a free press, it's really very depressing. You see our superior ways in the West, yet you lack the mental capacity to emulate them. Get out of here, you oaf. Get out and crawl back into the cave you came from. That's when I remembered about the deadly poison I happened to have in my pen at the time. What a terrible tale. In my head, I knew I should just get out of there as quickly as possible, but I couldn't. I couldn't let her get away with what she'd done when she clearly had no remorse at all. I suppose it was my journo spirit getting all fired up. Yep, we get it. We get it. Everybody's, yeah, get fucked. Mr. Ouchie, I'd like to ask you something. Yes? You often talk about justice. But surely as a journalist, you could have used other means to deliver the justice you sought. Yeah, I mean, she was a terrible person, but still, like, he did something bad too. There's no justice in the press. Sorry? After that trial 9 months ago, I kept digging to find out what had happened in the courtroom. And finally, I discovered the truth. It was a cover-up. That's what it was! A cover-up? What do you mean? I would remind you of your position, witness. Be careful of what you say. Oh, come on. Doesn't it strike you as strange? We're suddenly not allowed to convict a foreign national. Consular jurisdiction should never have come into it. And yet that puffed-up Englishwoman was going to sail away into the sunset, a free woman. The only possible explanation is that, behind the scenes, some deal had gone down between Britain and Japan. What sort of deal? I'd done my research, dug up all the dirt, it was all ready to be published. But you know what happened? That editor just tore up the article. Came under pressure from the government, you mean? If our government is gonna let criminals walk free, they're gonna crush the free press. Then what choice do I have but to see that justice is done myself? Let's not forget, Many Memo-san. That you committed murder yourself and tried to lay the blame on the defendant's door. I'm sorry, but you're no better than Giselle Brett. Oh, he's not gonna like that. What? The truth is, you have no right to talk about justice at all. I suppose. Yeah, that's right. Oh, finally. It appears that we have reached a conclusion in this trial at last. Yeah, that's how I'm talking. At last? You dare say that, game, when you're the one who dragged shit out? Oh my god. I had this case figured out by the hour mark. 40 minutes later, we're finally gonna roll not guilty. Counsel for the defense, Ryutaro Naruhodo. Oh, yes. Sorry, Your Excellency. It's almost unbelievable this is your first experience of the Supreme Court. It was an excellent performance. In truth, very much reminded me of your cousin's exploits. Oh, Naruhodo Ryunosuke, you mean? The way he handled the trial 9 months ago and the way you handled this one gives me hope that we are genuinely entering a new era of justice in this land. Yes, sir. It's very flattering, Your Excellency. Hearing the defense you put forward today made me feel most keenly that the future of our justice system will be forged by you and your contemporaries. Thank you. So, Prosecutor Ouchie, do you have any final thoughts? Prosecutor Ouchie? I, Takatsuchi of the Ouchie clan, have been bested by a callow youth not once now, but twice. If there was any shred of my former self left, it has withered and died here today. Gosh, your journey to cultural enlightenment sure took a while, didn't it? Silence! Rather than living on in shame, I will end it now. I'll end it all now with this blade. For that is the true path to Ouchieism. Ouchieism? One hopes that's the only way in which he'll be modeling himself after the witness. Sprig of my top knot, the time is right for farewell. Hope is lost forever. Takatsuchi. Are you gonna kill yourself, or are you gonna cut your hair off? Oh no, he's cutting off his tiny hair! Ah, yeah! I knew it! Wow. Wow. Really? I hate this. I hate this. Why? Why are you paying respects to his stupid tiny hair? He's a little shit prosecutor man. He does not deserve this. He sucks. Oh, God. Really? I'm gonna have to go through it. Good. Sorry for your loss, I guess. Get the fuck out of my face. Now, in regard to the defendant, Rei Membami-san. Yes, Your Excellency. I have reached my final verdict. I hereby find you not guilty. Yay, cherry blossoms, we did it. It was totally possibly gonna be different. Court is adjourned. Thank you. I'm done. My God. Wow, I was like, oh, this case was really cleanly finished up at 1 hour. How wrong I was. It's over. My heart is still pounding in my chest, though. It's all I can do to just stay standing. Lawyers have such great responsibility, such a great burden to bear. Don't they, Naruhodo-san? Susato! Thank you so much. You were so dashing in there. Rei and Father. Honestly, I'm so touched by everything you've... Oh no, I think I'm going to cry. It wasn't easy, but together we made it. I was on verge of tears at the end, too. The only reason I'm still here is because of you. Oh no, I can't take all the credit. It took courage to tell the truth in there. You did wonderfully, Rei. So I would have to say that the congratulations belong to you. Susato, don't be so standoffish. Sorry. We're friends, equals, and the trial's over, so no more of this formal super humility nonsense. It's time to celebrate with swagger. Throw caution to the wind. Caution to the what? I'm the great defense lawyer, Ryotaro Naruhodo, and I'm taking you out to a milk bar tomorrow. Or something. Right, I see. I'll think about it, Rei. At any rate, we really knocked the wind out of that horrid man, and it felt so good. Yes, it was satisfying. It really was. Isn't there anybody else we could throw together? I hope you're not looking at me, Rei. Oh my goodness. No, of course not. Of course not. She meant literally throw together. Ah, there it is. Rei's lovely smile. She's a ray of sunshine. You fought for your friend to the very last. As your father, I'm extremely proud of you, defense attorney Ryotaro Naruhodo. Thank you, but I couldn't have done it without your help. Anyway, it's time to bid farewell to Ryotaro, I think. I shall miss him in a way, but back to Susato Mikutoba for now. So I'll never see him again then? What a terrible shame. If you love her, you can just say it. It's okay. What? Uh-oh. Oh, no. What is happening? Oh, Soseki-san and Inspector Hosanaga, I hope you've been keeping well. Is that really you? We probably should have waited until I got home. Am I about to get, court-martialed for being a woman? Yes, I had to change my appearance for, well, obvious reasons, I hope, but it's me. You shouldn't do this in the courtroom. Susato Mikutoba. I did so dashing, so divine. No! Doubly dashing, yes, and devilishly divine. Just look at you. I had no idea, Miss Susato-san Esquires, that you were locum student Naruhodo-san Esquire's cousin. Astonishingly astounding ace attorney. You really stop screaming about this. Poor Soseki-san, so confused. Still remember the first time I ever met him. He was in a prison cell in London. What an extraordinary conundrum it was that the unwitting student from Japan found himself embroiled in. But after Naruhodo-san's skillful defense at the Old Bailey, Soseki-san was free to return to Japan, and he immediately got into trouble again. And now he seems to have earned himself a great fame as an author. I'm stunned. It's truly impressive disguise. Even I had no idea, and I'm chief inspector at the police bureau, who came up with Mr. Turtle, no less. I'm not sure you should be admitting to that, Inspector. Amazing. You're a woman of many faces, I see. This too, really, and this one is once-in-a-lifetime event, I hope. Yeah, don't get me into trouble, please. Oh, I'm not a patch on you, though, Inspector. Well, I am a professional, of course. And I'm bleeding again. I do worry about Inspector Hosanaga sometimes. I really do. 9 months. Oh, God. It's been a while, but I don't need all of it. I don't care. I just want to advance the story. 9 months ago, when he appeared here at Supreme Court to testify, he was undercover disguised as the head waiter of a restaurant. And then he was on the ship. Yeah, disguised as a sailor to keep us safe on the journey. And then, though that didn't help you, did it, Kazuma-sama? From my perspective, I have to admit that I have mixed feelings about all this. I mean, now the truth has been lost forever. What do you mean? I'm talking about the murder that English woman committed at the end of last year. Ah, yes, it's an English doctor she killed, as I understand it. Dr. John H. Wilson, yes, the man I invited to Japan personally. Mystery is, why did she kill him? And now the culprit herself is dead, we'll probably never know the answer. I don't know, we might. You never know. On the voyage to Great Britain, we had a most unexpected encounter with Mr. Herlock Sholmes, the great detective, I mean. Yes, I remember Mr. Sholmes well, of course. Ah, my arch nemesis, how lightly you utter his name. Well, according to the stories published about him and the adventures of Herlock Sholmes, the detective once had a partner who helped him solve crimes, a best friend. And that man was an exceptional doctor of medicine by the name of John H. Wilson. What? Dr. Wilson? I can't believe that it's a coincidence. I think the English doctor of medicine killed here in Japan 9 months ago must have been the friend and partner of Mr. Sholmes. Well, welcome back. We're still going. They're still talking. And if that's really true, then that poor girl won't ever see her beloved father again. As you know, I traveled to Great Britain once myself to study. It was around the time you were born. Yes, grandmother told me about it. On returning to Japan, I took up my professorship at the Imperial Yume University. But I also serve another role as an advisor to the government on diplomatic affairs. Yes, I was aware of that as well. In that case, I'm sure you understand that there are some confidential matters I cannot divulge to you. Could you tell me just one thing? Why did you summon me back to Japan? Oh, it's been 2 months now since I returned. When I left England, it was because of an urgent telegram I had arrived from Japan. It said you were collapsed with a high fever and you were growing weaker by the day. What? Where did that news come from? That's what I'd like to know, because after a long sea voyage, I found you in fine health, Father. Is there something in Great Britain that you perceive might inconvenience me in some way? Or harm me? It's really the only explanation I can think of. Dear me, do you reserve your most cutting glares for your father, Susato? Sorry, my dear, I simply can't. Arg! Let me go! Oh, he's back. Oh, God, just take him to jail. Many Memo-san. So, one throw wasn't enough for you. I've got one last thing to say before they take me away, Professor. Me? I know the truth. I know you had a hand in what went on, in that visiting student's fate. Visiting student? Giselle Brett, you mean? No, not her! The student of law who left for Great Britain 8 months ago. What? Did you get Kazuma killed? Student of law, he must be Kazuma-sama. What are you talking about? What does any of this have to do with Kazuma-sama? Nobody here in Japan knows anything about it. They don't know the guy never made it to England, that he died on that steamship, and that he'll never... Arg! Oh, hello, Judge? Hello, Judge? Well, I didn't expect to find him in here. Uh-oh, am I a lady now or not? What were you officers playing at? Terribly sorry, Your Excellency. Okay, so we are uncovering a plot. I was coming to tell you that the rickshaw has arrived, Eugen, and it's a good job I came by. Yes, thank you for dealing with him, and I'll be there shortly. Oh, Dad, are you involved in some cover-up bullshit? Oh, Your Excellency. The trial's over. I'm not Your Excellency anymore. Merely your father's friend, Seshiro Jigoku. And I may say that since I saw you last, you seem to have taken on a more dashing appearance, Susato. So you knew the whole time? Did you know all along from the start of the trial? A judge sees everything, Susato. Couldn't let you take the risk. If Seshiro here hadn't known, and then he'd recognized you, so I had a word in his ear beforehand, as an old friend. Dad, how many strings are you pulling? This is getting so complicated already. So, Seshiro, shall we? Yes, having ruled on that case, we now have various diplomatic issues to address. Before you go, Father! Sorry, my dear, we shall have to return to our earlier conversation at a later date. That's highly suspicious. But well done again, both of you. You did admirably. Oh, thank you so very much. What did you think of my Seshiro sling, eh? It's been a while since I sent a man flying like that. Why does everybody have like a suplex? Oh, this is all very suspicious. Whatever could Father be hiding from me? About Giselle, Brett, about Dr. Wilson, and now it seems, according to the reporter, about Kazuma-sama. Oh, great. I'm gonna have to bring this up with Father sometime, when nobody else is around. Get out of here. Judicial Assistant Mikotoba-san Esquires, could I have a word? Oh, yes, of course, Saseki-san. What is it? I think perhaps it could be fate that we're meeting again like this now. You see, there's something I need to tell you. What? Oh? I believe that it may be related to the reason why your father summoned you back from England. This I have to hear. Please, Saseki-san, tell me at once. I will. As you know, my time in England was terrible. Cursed, I have no doubt. Such awful things I was embroiled in. Thank goodness locum student Naruhodo-san Esquire stepped in. After he secured my freedom, I couldn't wait to get on a ship back to here, to my homeland. Having arrived in Japan, I submitted a report about my experiences to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The next thing I knew, I had a visitor. It was your father, Professor Mikotoba. He wanted to ask me all sorts of things about my report. My father? He seemed to be especially taken with a particular part of the report. Anyway, he left eventually, having thoroughly quizzed me. But it was the very next day that he sent the telegram to you asking you to return to Japan. What was it then? The particular part my father was interested in? I don't really know exactly. Then don't fucking say it! I hate this so much about this game. I don't know. I'm gonna tell you a big secret, but I don't actually know. But do you remember them? The two terrible cases I was caught up in? Of course, I could never forget. Your father seems to concern himself mainly with the second case. The second one, you mean the one Mr. Sholmes forbade any of us to talk about in public? Which is why the only case involving you that any member is publicly aware of is the first. Well, I don't care. I don't have to listen to what the dastardly detective says. Anyway, the point is, it seems that case somehow holds the key to all these curious unanswered questions. That horrific, hideous highness case. The case of the haunted lodgings. Okay, please tell me we're done. I'm so tired of talking. The case somehow caused my father to summon me urgently back to Japan. I thought that whole business was over. But it seems I was wrong. Perhaps that was only the start. Perhaps the story is not yet told. Please, are we done? Save? Oh, we're back to here. Okay.
So, the mystery of that English woman's death is solved, thank goodness.
Yay. So fun.
And having stood in the Supreme Court now, I think I can comprehend a little better. How you must be feeling as you fight for people's freedom in a foreign land, Naruhodo-san.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
But actually, I'm writing to you today because of another matter.
Oh?
I met Soseki-san and we talked about that second case he was involved in.
Okay, so that's what we're talking about.
Father has said nothing to me, but I feel certain of it.
Yeah.
That case holds the key to some great unsolved
Oops.
mystery. My notes on the case should still be in the office, tucked away at the back of the shelves on the left.
So happy to see my friends
Perhaps
playing
you
Tears of
might
the
like to
Kingdom.
look over
Very
them
good.
again. Today, for the first time this year, it feels as though summer has arrived.
Oh, okay.
The sky is a brilliant blue. It makes me long to see you again. Yours, Susato.
Aw. Well, I'm glad I got a little bit of a break from the talking. Okay, and that should be end of part 1. Let me save my game, please. And, oh, thank you. We did it. We figured out who killed the English woman in a very convoluted way, but we did it. Save my current progress. Yes, so that is the end of... That's the end of Trial 1. We're going to start Trial 2, which I believe goes back over to England with our boy Naruhodo. Thank you, everybody, for being here, and thank you, YouTube peoples, for watching this. Oh, man. Yeah. This is going to take a lot out of me, but for the next few Mondays, we're going to be Mystery Mondaying again and seeing how long it takes to get through this. I want to try to get through an episode each time, but I may only get halfway through depending on how long-winded they are. But yeah, good stuff. We finally made it through, despite the fact that everybody was working against me.